Okay, we're going to start section 1.3. It's called Basic Output because it deals with printing information to the screen. Before too long, hopefully, we'll get to some more graphical user interfaces with buttons and stuff. But when you start programming, it's easiest to start with just printing things out to the screen. So that's what we're going to focus on first. The command we use is system.out.print or println, print line or print. Notice there's a capital S in system, all the rest are lowercase. And so we generally write this as system.print, system.out.print, and then we do parenthesis, and then in quotes we put the text we want to print out. And it'll print that literal text out to the screen. And again, there's print and println, print line, and they work slightly different. So here's system.out.print, keep calm, and carry on. They're all print statements, and so they all print out. This first one says keep calm, prints that out on the line, and since it's a print statement, and is printed out on that same line, and carry on is printed out on that same line. Where if they're all print lines, the first keep calm is printed out on a line, and then the ln tells it to go to the next line, and is printed out on that line, and the ln says go to the next line, and carry on goes to the next line. So it prints it out here. Also, you might notice that here we don't have any spaces after calm and before and. It prints these literally out. So sometimes we'll have to watch and make sure we put spaces in our quotes where we need them to be. Text will talk about some common errors and how to print out a blank line by just printing out empty quotes. That's a double quote and then another double quote to create an empty quote that you can print out. You could even put a space in there if you wanted to, but often we just put two double quotes next to each other. You can't use single quotes, you need to use double quotes. You have to watch when you're using print and when you're using print line. You can go through these participation activities. We'll be tracking your final results with these. So again, which statement prints out welcome? You might say this one does, and it'll say wrong because you look, there's no quotes around it, and then this one does. So just make sure you find the right answer, and don't worry about if you get the wrong answer initially. That we won't be penalized for that. These kind of answers, you actually have to type in the statement that you want, type in a statement that prints hello. So you might want to look back up at these statements to remind yourself what you have to type, and then you just type in system dot out dot print, and I want to print hello, so I'm going to say hello. Oops, I want a capital H there, so correct that. And I think I might have it correct. I'll check it, and it'll give me a warning, an error. It says it's not the right stuff in the middle of the quotes. So it gives me an error that it should be something like system.out.println, so I can a semicolon at the end, so I can look. And I've got actually two errors. I'm missing the capitalization here and missing the semicolon here. So if I check one, it'll still give me an error. Oops. Now it's just detecting that it's a problem with uppercase and lowercase. To make sure I capitalize system.out.println, hello, check answers. Okay, so try to go through and get the correct answers here. If you need help, you can hit show answer, and it'll show you what the right answer should be, and then you could check your answer against that and then run it. Let's talk a little bit about variables. So again, we can declare variables, like here we're declaring an integer variable called wage and setting it equal to 20. And if we want to print that out, we say system.out.print or print line, and then just put the variable inside the parentheses without any quotes. If we put quotes around it, it would print out wage, but without quotes, it'll print out what wage stores, the value wage stores, and that's what we generally want to do with variables. So in this example, it prints out wage is colon, wage is, and that, since this is a print statement, the cursor stays on that line after the colon, and then it prints out wage, which is, since it doesn't have quotes, it'll look for a variable called wage and finds it and says it's equal to 20, so it prints out 20. Now this is a print line statement, so then I'll go to the next line, and then it prints goodbye there. So that's how that prints out. Go through this and try out some of these examples for printing out variables. So given a variable num cars equal 9. So assume you have a variable called num cars, just like here we had a variable, an integer variable called wage. Here we have an integer variable called num cars, which is set equal to 9 ahead of time. And then we want to find a statement that prints out 9. So again, if we check this one, it would print out num cars in quotes. That would be wrong. We want to find the right one here that actually prints out the variable without quotes. So go through this. You ought to write a statement here that prints out the variable num users. Again, remember system.out.println with capital S, and remember your semicolon. They'll try to remind you periodically through this. Now, often we want to combine statements. So we've looked at printing out a quote in a print and a variable, but we can combine these in different ways by just putting a plus, which concatenates things together inside a print statement. So here we can print the wage is colon, and then end our quotes. That's our first quote. And then we do plus, and then this wage is a variable. So it's like combining two print statements. So it's similar to up here where we had this was one statement and this was another print statement. We just put a plus between those two to concatenate them together, and we get this wage is 20. So again, we'll walk you through a number of examples printing things out here. So try these out. Here we've actually got three things: the string, user age, and years are all printed out with pluses between them. Okay, I will return here. Sorry, I had to stop the recording for a second, run out. I started raining at my house and I had sheets out on the line, so I just go pull those in. Okay, we were talking about these errors here and concatenating multiple things, and now we're going to go on to the Newline character. So there's a special character. If you want to print out a new line, go to the next line within a quote. It's a slash, and notice this is what people often call a backslash and then the and for a Newline character. So there's a number of what we call escape characters here. Backslash and goes to Newline, backslash T will do a tab and things like that. But right now we're just going to look at the backslash and to print out a new character. So here's a participation activity we can try this out on and work on now. Participation activities will not show you the right answer. I mean, we'll show you the answers, but it will not tell you that you've got it right, so you can just try things out. So the first thing I want to print out is China's population was, and then this variable, China's population. So I'm going to change this to China's population was, and notice down below here it's showing what's being printed out, and I want to get it to match this, and then I'm going to do a plus, and then I'm going to type in the country population variable. So now there's still a syntax error until I get that in there, and now it should be working. Let's see, where do I have population? Here. So China's population was and a population variable. Notice there's no space after the was, and I want a space there. So to do that, I want to stick in a space here to get that space. Okay, China's population was, and I want to print out in 2011. So now I'm going to concatenate, add another plus, and do another little string in 2011, period, quote, in 2011. So I notice another little problem here is that after the number and before in starts, there should be a space. There's a space up here and it's not down here. I'm going to put in a space there. So again, you can try this out, and now you can redo it and try to type this in. Try to get it to display this text. Now, when you go down here, there's another activity where you have to print out these variables in different ways. And these are just strings you can work with, and this is just a repetitive practice thing. I'm going to print out A, B, C, See if I can get that right and check it off, and it says that's correct. And then I have to just go through and hit next, and I have to do this 5 times before I get this whole exercise right. So it'll give you different variables. Now this, notice how it should have a space and then A, B, C without any spaces between them, and then it looks like a space afterward. So I'm going to have to try this out. So I can try a space, or let's just say if I did A, B, C and hit check, it's kind of showing me I expected to have a space before and after it, and I didn't. So now I have to go to next, and it'll give me another one. So watch the spaces around these things, and then they get harder, and you have to get 5 correct. If you get some wrong, it'll just give you another problem. So you just have to get 5 of them correct to get through this. Now we get on to having you write some more code. Here's one of the first longer programs, and use the \n sometimes to put this all in one line if necessary. We want to actually, let's see, we want to have this these print statements. Simply use 2 print statements to print out, one for each sentence. So here's our first sentence. In 2014, the driving age is 18. And I have a driving age variable, and I have the driving year. And right now it works fine. If I run this, it'll tell me that answer. It'll display the right answer. In 2014, the driving age is 18. I just have to edit this, and again, because this is a participation activity, it's not going to tell me that it's right or wrong. I just have to try this out, and it suggests I do it line by line. So let's try to do this. I want to combine. I've got a print, another print, another print, another print, and a print line. I'm going to combine all of those print statements into one long print statement. So I'm going to just do the first 2. It says in and driving year to print out in, and then this year is a variable, 2014. So I'm just going to highlight this and highlight all of this and replace that all with a plus. So I get in and then the driving year. And again, same, now I can run this, see if it's going to work. Should print out the same thing. And now I'm going to highlight, I'm going to get rid of that, parentheses, semicolon. I'm going to get rid of this system.print and back up a little bit there. But now I have to make sure if I try to run this now, there'll be an error. There'll be some error because it's sometimes hard to read because it's actually looking for a plus between here. So it actually thinks maybe we should put a parentheses there. That's what it's saying. But really, it's kind of confused. The compiler often gets confused with what the error should be. So I want to put a plus in there. So I say in driving year that. So now I run that. And now it should run correctly. Keep doing this until I get down to just 2 print statements. One to print this out and one to print this out. See if you can do that. Now, on to the challenge activities. These you can actually run and see if you get the correct answer. They start out relatively simple. I want to print out 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm just going to do system dot out dot print, and I'm just going to type in 3 space 2 space 1 space go exclamation point and run that. And if I have an error, it should tell me that. In this case, the error is actually useful, semicolon expected, and the little caret here points to where it thinks the semicolon is, and that's right. So I'm going to put in a semicolon, run this again. It'll run a number of tests. In this case, it just actually runs 1 test against my output. So here's my output, and that I get a check, so that's good. It passed the test. So again, go through these a little more complicated examples and run those also. So that wraps up this lesson 1.3 on basic output.